Welcome to a guide to new mods on Farming Simulator 19 with me, MrSealyp. It's Tuesday the 8th of October and we have some new mods. Not seasoned yet, I'm afraid. That may be tomorrow, possibly later in the week, depending on whether or not it passes testing. So I'm going to start straight off. We do have an update actually. There's an update to the Fortrit HWATS HA trailer by Lexik and Aaa Modding. But in front of us we have got the Lizard 500S. This is by Whitebull Modding, and it's an attachment for the front 3-point link of a tractor or vehicle. So you don't technically need a front loader attachment or tool to use it. There's a couple of other bits and bobs that come with this pack. We've got bale, they're not spikes, are they? Bale prongs for round bales technically. We've got a bucket and we've got this, and this is designed with ratchet straps to pick up pallets and various different things like that. In store, this is under miscellaneous. We've got the 500S, we've got the shovel that goes with it, we've got the bale fork, and we've got the fork with ratchet straps. Each of those is 4 slots for the first one. Again, if you're on PC, slots, it doesn't affect you at all. It's a console thing. So the 500S itself is 1,400, and then the shovel's 300, bale fork 200, and the fork with ratchet straps 250. Options available: we can change the main colour to anything you fancy that matches up with whatever it is you're playing with or colour scheme you particularly have. Same with each implement, you can change the main colour. So it's not too expensive. What I would suggest though is you're probably going to need a rear weight. I'm going to do this on the larger fence because this overhangs it sticks out quite a long way from the front. So if we hook it up, hydraulic lines attach, we can raise it up and down, and we can tilt the head as well. Now obviously it goes up fairly high, which is pretty good. But when you've got it extended out that far out the front without a weight on the back, as soon as you start picking up heavier stuff on smaller tractors especially, you're going to get a bit of tip. So rear weights on the wheels always helps, as does a rear weight. Now, hooking up couldn't be simpler. Now, L1 and circle will lower the whole assembly down. Then it gives us the option of the bale fork, which I can hook up. And then we can use, actually make sure you're on the right implement, raise that whole assembly back up again, and now you've got the fork available. Now obviously that's not going to go down to the floor like that, which means you've got to lower the whole rig. So there's going to be a kind of a bit of a adjusting the actual 3-point link at the front, adjusting the tool itself, and adjusting the head, and you may need to bounce around between the different attachments to get that to work. So that's the bale. See what I mean? That's the bale fork. Right, we do have a bucket, and then we do have one with ratchet straps as well. Sorry, the bucket, shovel, and describe it like so. So we'll disconnect that, and then we've got this one on the end, which is the fork with ratchet straps. Now I put a weight on the back because what I was going to show you was it lifts up that prong in the middle. That's just what keeps it stable on the ground when you put it down. If I disconnect that now, just keeps it level so it doesn't tip over and disappear and you can't do anything with it. What we will do is switch back to that, raise the assembly up. Let's go over to one of the IBCs. Now the IBCs are quite heavy, and this is one of the modded ones. I think it's a 3,000 litre. So like I say, this extends quite a long way out the front. If I drop that down a little bit, is it going to go down any further? I think what we might have to do is lower that and then raise that. And then we can get a better height on this. Now, what I did find in practicing a little bit with this, I get a little bit wobbly to say the least, but it does pick it up, like I say, with the weight on the back, no problem at all. If I raise that whole assembly up now, It means if you're going to be loading onto higher vehicles, or you're going to be putting up onto shelving, that racking, that kind of stuff, but there is a little bit of movement on there, especially with the bigger stuff, but the ratchet straps will work with, see what I mean? Whoa, that is not good. Right, let's disconnect that. Right, so automatically we found a problem. Didn't do that a minute ago when I tested it. You can hook up to bales, piles of logs, and it's ratchet straps. At the end of the day, you go down to whatever it is you're going to be putting it on, and you can ratchet strap it. That isn't so good. I wonder if it's going to be a little bit better with a pallet of seeds. Let's drop the whole rig down. Raise up a little bit. Hook up. Could just be the IBC, could be a mod issue, because obviously it was a modded IBC as well. Seems to be fine with the seeds. So there you go. Pallets, bales, things like that. It's a handy little bit of kit. It's not overly expensive either, which makes it quite handy. So what I thought I would do as well was just double check something, because you know, you never know. Is would this hook up with let's just roll that down. Disconnect that. And then we'll disconnect that. Will it hook up to a normal front loader tool? So as well as the tools that comes with this little pack, will it hook up to something already existing? And it does. So I've put that on the round bale grab, and it works fine. Is it supposed to? I don't know. The attachment doesn't look like it should, but it does. So front loader tools will attach onto the front of it. There you go. So that's the Lizard 500S by Whitebull Modding. On to the next one. Next up we have the Fendt 800 Vario TMS. This is by Lexik. We have got a first generation and second generation vehicle in this pack, with slightly different things you can put on them. Not massively different, but engine sizes vary a little bit. Nice tidy mod. This is kind of the design between the older boxy Fendts, the sort of squared off ones, and the more modern Fendts that we're kind of used to seeing in game. This is kind of the interim design. Lots of detail. So this is the Gen 1, this one's the Gen 2. I've gone for slightly different designs and just, you know, various different things on it. That one's got the chrome exhaust cover, and there are some other options available, but we'll have a look in store at this. It's not a bad looking tractor actually. It's got a nice, got a chunky sort of feel to it, look to it. This comes under medium tractors. There we go. So we've got the 800 Vario TMS first gen and second gen. First gen starts 170 grand and up. The second gen 180 grand and up. These are 34 slots each for the first one. Then obviously the slot count drops. But if we look at the first gen, we can change the rim colour to any of these, for example. We can change the main colour. We've got Fendt Classic, Nature Green, Fendt Tannengrün. Then we've got Black Beauty, Petrol. Communal, the orange, then we've got Fendt Red and Fendt White. The white's an interesting colour, yeah. Let's go back to, let's go with the Tannengrün. That's, I think, I went the Gen 2 on that. Then we've got design colour. Now the design colour, if we change that, nothing obvious seems to change immediately. That actually changes the colour for the front loader attacher. So when you get the front loader attacher on it, that will be the colour of the design colour, so whatever you decide to go with on that. So tyre choices, we have got Trelleborg, and we can go with standard, wheel weight, wide tyres, wides and weights, narrows, rear twins, twins, and back to standard. We've got Nokians, which are standard communal. We can't do anything with those, that's what you get. And then we've got Michelins. We can have standard, wheel weight, narrow. Now the narrows aren't as narrow as the Trelleborg ones. It does say narrows. They shouldn't affect crops. I say shouldn't. Then we've got wides, and they are considerably wider, I have to say. Wides and weights. rear twins, twins, and back to standard. Then design, it says original or design line. The design line gives you that kind of almost silvery, chromy looking grille at the front. Doesn't change anything else that I could tell, just the grille over the front. And then we can have at the front, down the bottom here, we can have no hydraulic. We can have front hydraulic without PTO, front hydraulic with PTO, and then back to no hydraulic. And then we've got the engine sizes. Now it starts off 168 horsepower for the 815. The 817 goes to 180 horsepower. Then it says 818, but the horsepower didn't change in the top left hand on that horsepower. So I'm going to check the one I've got because it should be higher. And then we've got our option for front loader attacher, no or yes. And as you can see, the design colour is orange because that's what we chose earlier on. So you can have front loader attacher, yes or no. So if we then look at the second gen, options are the same for the rim colour, main colour and design colour. I'm pretty sure that the options for tyres are the same. Wheel weights, wides and weights, narrows, yeah I think it was. Rear twins, twins and back to standard. We do have the knock-in on communal, and we've got the Michelins again, weights, narrows, wides and weights, twins, and that looks huge with those on, doesn't it? And back to standards. Now on this one we've got original, which is a black exhaust cover, or chrome exhaust. Those are the two options on that one. And then we've got no front hydraulic, front hydraulic without PTO, with PTO, back to no hydraulic. And then so we've got the engine size changes here. We've got the 818, which is 192 horsepower, and then we've got the 820, which is 212 horsepower. That's back to 818 again. And then we've got the option of front loader attacher, yes or no. So with this, the Gen 2, you get the slightly higher horsepower option, but they're not cheap, to be fair. I mean, that said, I've changed a couple of things there. There you go, the 820 takes up to 197 grand. A couple of little changes here and there, but nothing major. So yeah, knocking on 200 grand for a 212 horsepower tractor puts it about average for that kind of size vehicle, I guess. So, let's get in it. The Gen 1. There are no doors and windows that open that I could discern from having a look round it. Beacons, lights, that nice kind of almost those orangey kind of glow to it because they're slightly older, not the newer style lights you get. In cab, engine off, engine on, lights, we've got indicators on the dash. And there you go. Right, so the Gen 2 is, I think, pretty much identical. Apart from the outward looks, the inside is pretty much the same. Engine off, engine on. Our light options scroll through. Indicators. Oh, actually, that's what I was going to check. Let's have a look in the garage, because under this, under leased, no, wrong one, this one, we should have the Gen 1 and 2. I want to see what it says for horsepower. 212, oh, it says 180 horsepower. So the 818 and the 817 have the same horsepower. That's interesting. So there you go. That's the Fendt 800 Vario TMS, first gen and second gen by Lexik. Moving on, we have these. I do like these. We had them on FS17 on console. They may have been out prior to that on previous versions of the game, but on console we had them on FS17. It's the Fortra E516 Harvester Pack by Aaa Modding, or AAA Modding. And we've got a few things in this pack. We have got the Fortra E516 and E517 harvesters. We've got the T936 header trailer. We've got the E536 header, which I think is the standard header. We've got the NA670 sunflower header, and then we've also got the FKA602 corn header, but that does corn and sunflower, so we've got a few options available there. These are, I mean, they were amazing. I did like them on FF17, the sound they make, the detail on them. They're even better on 19. They've done a fantastic job on these. They do look really, really nice. And there are quite a few options available, but yeah, very, very cool. Now these, the harvesters themselves, are 41 slots each. The header trailer is 4 slots. That header's 16 slots. That header's 15 slots, and that corn header is 9 slots. So quite a few slots if you pick up, you know, a few headers and bits and bobs to go with them. But I don't know, I like them. I think they're great. Let's have a quick look then in store. I say quick look. So the E516 starts at 89,000, which isn't too bad. So we've got the option to change the rim colour to any of those. So for example, if we want to go with the yellow rim colour. Configuration, we've got standard. We've got the E516 blue. Pay attention because there's a lot going on here. We've got the E516B blue. Then we've got the E516 light brown. E516B light brown. Then we've got the E516 brown. We've also the light brown, but now we're onto brown, so it's a slightly darker. Then we've got the 516B brown. Now this one says 516 brown again, but it just changes the decal on the body really from the white to having a black border behind it. And then we've got the 516B brown with the black on there as well. And then we've got the 517. Now in essence nothing actually changes on there. The horsepower doesn't change. It's a slightly different design in the cab. That's the only thing I could find that seems different, was the cab layout. If you look, it's hard to see, it doesn't really zoom in very well. If we look without a glint on the cab, from the 516 to the 517, the interior of the cab changes a little bit. Wheel setup, we can have standard, which is slightly chunkier tyre, L31R20, 16R20, which gives you a larger one on the back, and then we've got the R34, which gives you a slightly narrower tyre on the front, like so. Then we can change the capacity, and that we can change the capacity on the 516 and the 517 from 4,500 to 5,500, which gives that little extension on the top, like the canvas add-on onto the top of there. So those are the options available. Now with a few changes like that, and even with the extra capacity on there, that only takes up to 90,400, which is pretty good. It's an affordable harvester, you know, to start off with. So those are your options on there. As far as headers go, the Fortra E536, which is your standard kind of grain header, 6.7 metre. For 21 grand, again not massively expensive at all. Options available, we can change the main colour to fit in with whichever particular harvester colour you might have chosen. Then design, we've got standard, we can change the tips, so we can change the tip change, and then we can change the decal, and then we can have decal and tip change. So there's a few options there if you want to change, fiddle around with your header. And then we've got the NA670, which is your sunflower header. Again, we can change the main colour to match whatever harvester you're going with, and you can change the design colour as well. Now the design colour, you can pick any of those to match, well, anything you like really, just whatever particular design match you want to go with. This one we can have standard, or we can have change decal. It just moves the decal from the front arm there back down to the body a little bit lower down, like so. Then we've got the corn header, and the corn header should be up here. So this is the Clado FKA 602, 17 grand for a 4.6 metre. This will do corn and it will do sunflower. Question I have, because I'm not too sure, I had a look online, I couldn't really find anything about this, oddly. You can have the main colour, we can change to any of those, so you can pick whatever colour you want really to either match your harvester or just pick something else. But then it says design standard or SZ6. Now it looks like a kind of roller situation thing, but I couldn't work out. Like I said, I had a look online, I couldn't find what it was, what it does. But those are your two options, so you can have it standard or with the SZ6 on there. If you know, stick it in the comments. I'd love to know what it actually is, what it does. But there you go, so that's your corn header. And then if we come back out, if we go to the header trailers, and we scroll across. Now this is an interesting one. The T936 header trailer is only $1, pound or euro. I don't know if that's going to be changed or whether that's supposed to be one. Yeah, and we can change the rim colour to any of those. Again, it's just matching up with whatever harvester choice you've gone with, like so. What I do like about that is it's got this bar in the middle with a little red bit on the top of it. And your header also has a red mark, so it helps you to line up the header onto the trailer when you're putting them on, which I think is very, very cool. So let's jump in the 516 first. Door opens and closes, which I like. Let's do that again. Let's get in. Start it up. Sounds great. Looks fantastic. Now that's with the harvester folded. To unfold it, L1 and X opens up the rear section, puts the ladder down, which I think is rather nice indeed. Header hookup, smooth. I think it's L1. We can adjust the header itself. We can do on most headers. Adjust the rotor up or down, in and out as well. Back onto the harvester itself. Pipe out. Like so. Lights on the front, on the rear. Main work lights, then we've got one that actually goes over where the pipe is. It's not actually attached to the pipe, but it shines out in the direction the pipe would be when you come to unload. Beacon on the top. I think it looks brilliant. Now, when we actually go to turn the header on, that's when all the bells and whistles start on the side. We get all the mechanical parts moving. Let's turn it on. There we go. I like that. Now in cab, turn everything off. Now this is the 516. Like I said, the cab is a little bit different. So start the engine. Then lights. We've got the light comes up on the dashboard there. We've got our indicators show up on there. But what I do like as well, when you put your hazards on or your beacons on, that light over on the right hand console goes from red to orange, like it's lit up. So that tells you your beacons on if you do it from in-cab. When you start the rotor, bit of movement there. I like that. It's little things like that, it just makes a difference, you know. You can see the red line just there on the middle. That's what I was talking about. I'm going to bump over here and I shouldn't do really. We go to the header trailer. So if you're doing it in cab, it makes life way easier. But to be fair, it makes it way easier if you're doing it out of cab as well. So that bar that's sticking out, you line this up with that, in theory. Kind of like so. There you go. I like that. It's a clever little bit of kit, that. So that's the 516. The 517 is identical with everything else it does. Door opens and closes. Slight little design changes here and there. Fold and unfold is exactly the same. Pipe in and out. This is the one I went with the 5500, so it's got a slightly higher raised grain storage. But again, when we put the pipe out, that kind of locks it in place, that lever. I like that, it's just brilliant. Start it up. So hook up to the header. Again, if we turn the header on, I do like this header, this particular sunflower header. I just love that. The triangular rotor on there. Like a rotating Toblerone. Very cool. But in cab, like I say, the actual design of this is different. We haven't got a little bit of console in the middle here. It's all to the side here. So if we turn the lights on now, the lights over on this side. Our indicators are over there. And the same if we put our beacons on, you get that orange light come up. So it is, like I say, the 517's got a slightly different cab design inside. That's all really. There's probably a few other minor little differences that I haven't picked up on, but very nice. This one I went with the standard tyres, they're slightly chunkier. The 516 I went with the slightly narrower ones, just as a kind of contrast. But I like these harvesters, like I say. Did on 17, I like them just as much, if not more, on this one. Really nicely detailed, looks fantastic. And that's the corn header. That's the FK602M with that bit on the back. So there you go. That's it for today. Those are the mods from Aaa Modding, Lexik and Whitebull Modding. Hope you found it useful and informative in some way, shape or form. If you have, give us a like. If you don't subscribe yet, please do. If you want to leave a comment, feel free. And if you want to share this video, then please be my guest. Whatever you should choose to do. Thanks for watching.